Is he dealing with something similar to the injury he had last season that knocked him out for a while?
No, this is a different one. It's a different one. Soft tissue.
All good?
Not many questions. You mentioned obviously you're going to play your starters about a half there. So how do you use the second half, right? Is that for bubble guys? Is that for, you need to get some evaluation stuff, I guess, for some of those decisions?
Yeah, I think certainly it would be that to find out, who we think can solidify those last few spots for us. We'd like to still try to get everybody in if possible. I mean, we want to give everybody an opportunity to put tape out there, and either if you don't make it here for us, you're able to make it somewhere else. It doesn't always work out that way, but that'll be our intent if we can.
Safety spot's been a little banged up for you lately with Fatu and CJ Moore out now. Juju Hughes has played a ton for you as he's making his case for this roster. What has he provided for you, I guess, stability-wise back there, and how has he kind of grown in this scheme since he's been here?
Well, I mean, he's to this point here, he's been your classic case of durability and dependability. That's what he's been, and he certainly has made a case to take a spot for us, to earn a spot for us. He's made that argument. He's improved since he's been here. And I mean, I thought he was another guy who had a really good week last week, and really his camp has been good. But I thought last week he really even progressed even more. So he's he's a steady player back there. You don't have to worry about him doing the wrong thing. He'll be where he's supposed to be. He's going to make the right calls. And he's a player that I think everybody trusts. Has a lot of trust for right now.
Early on in training camp, you talked about trying to manage Swift, and that was like a thing for you guys. How do you feel like you guys managed him throughout, as far as keeping him healthy, not as you had time to go through training camp? How do you feel like the job you guys done with that?
Yeah, I feel like we've done a really good job because we haven't had any setbacks with Swift. He's been available when we've called upon him, and I feel like he's in a good place right now. So I think the plan that we had, I think it's worked to this point, So we kind of did what we wanted to do with him.
Yeah, somebody asked you the other day, I think, on how many jobs are still up in the air, and I think you said 8 to 10. How does that compare to last year, if you remember? And what does it say about the state of your roster now?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'll just say it again. We're a lot farther ahead than we were last year. We're much more competitive. The talent has been upgraded, and it's tough. It's hard. It's hard because you're going to be doing Brad and I went through it again last night. I mean, you go through these scenarios, but you're doing the balancing, you're juggling, the durability, the dependability, all these. They do it right, but yet are they good enough? Are they truly good enough? Versus, man, the talent, flash player, can't trust them, and it's but they've got the talent to do it if the light comes on, and so it's hard. It's hard, but that's the task that we're given.
Any particular tiebreakers in there, like one or two things that's a tiebreaker when it's in your mind when you're looking at a player?
No, I think ultimately, you just always the tiebreaker is going to be special teams. That's the first, and I mean, if it's close at all, it needs to be somebody we know can help us on special teams. Other than that, I mean, certainly. It's hard. You're just going to we have to weigh it. I mean, look, dependability and look, trust is a big deal with me, all right? But I'm also a realist too. I understand that you can have a team full of those guys, and if you don't have enough talent, you'll get beat. So it's a juggling act that Brad and I have to do here and sort through.
See the first team defense for one series. I know what Todd was saying, he kind of challenged those guys going to Indy to be better against the run and be disruptive. Just curious what you're kind of hoping to see from those guys for a half of football on Sunday.
Yeah, I think you want to see us take another step forward, like from the Indy game is what I would say. I think these guys will, they're a little bit different scheme-wise. This isn't the old Pittsburgh offensively like it used to be, where they would line up in true double teams. There's a little bit more gun runs, things of that nature, but they're still built off of, a mentality of toughness, and they're going to test you. So I just think we need to see. I think we need to see improvement even from last week is what you're looking for. We got to step in the right direction, and now can we take it another notch? I mean, that's ultimately what you're looking for.
Got a roster question more generally speaking. Going back to last year and this year, you guys just don't have much churn. I think the 3 guys you've added this camp, 2 were due to retirement, 1 was due to injury. And covered several coaches in this league, and you see a lot more bottom of the roster churn through the season, through training camp. You really seem to pick your guys and stick with them. Last year was all promotions off the practice squad. We had injuries. So, what is that philosophically? Is that something that's you, or is that something you've cultivated from mentors down the line? Like, why are you so loyal to the guys that you have and not really looking for outside help once you get going?
I mean, I think that's. Look, you say that you could very easily start doing more of it if it becomes available, but I think that's a little bit of Brad and myself just if they meet the criteria, which that's probably why they're here, that we know what they're about, and they love ball, and they'll go in and compete, and they've got enough talent to compete, and if you don't feel like you're finding better in the moment, man, why mess with it? Because those guys have a relationship with those teammates, and we get used to them, and you kind of build trust. And one day you may need them. They make it, or they make the practice squad. Then they've been in the system, and they understand it, and their teammates trust them. So I think there's a little bit of that, but that doesn't mean that if better talent comes available that we're not always looking.
Those defensive positions that are open or how many positions on defense do you still have open for first team?
I mean, so much of it is. I mean, look, our linebacker position is still in flux right now. That's an ongoing battle. Certainly some of our backup positions. I mean, you guys brought up Juju, but the backup safety position is big right now. And as it relates to special teams, the backup linebacker, forget even, these guys are jockeying for position as starters, but also the back end of that relative to the halfbacks. Who's going to help us more in special teams? The receivers relative to the DBs, the tight ends relative to the linebackers or running backs. Like, who's going to give us the most bang for our buck on special teams plays a lot into it. And so that's why I say, like, there's going to be some guys here potentially, I'm looking for a couple of guys on special teams to really, I want to see them light it up. And if they do, it may not have anything to do with how good somebody does on offense or defense. Like, if they show up the way I think they can on special teams, they're going to earn a spot. So that's kind of where we're at. And that's why a lot can happen between now and Monday or Tuesday.
To build off that, you got a lot of guys that might be kind of long-term pieces on defense that are currently injured. So how tough is it to manipulate the roster to be ready for week 1, but maybe also carry some of those guys like Julian and Levi and Iffy?
Yeah, it's not easy. But there again, I think we got to weather that storm. We'll have to weather it a little bit, and because those guys, there's no setbacks, they're getting better, and so I think we just, we do the best we can with what we have in the moment, and then knowing that we got reinforcements coming.
Kind of in that same regard with James Mitchell, he didn't play in the first preseason game. He was out there for that second one. How do you evaluate him and kind of weigh the slow start to camp and preseason?
Yeah, he's another one. He's a tough one because he's coming off the injury, and we've given him more every week, and he's continued to get better. But like, to be able to say you're going to have a true evaluation of that player it's impossible to say right now. The best we can say is that he has improved every week and every day, and we love where he's going. That's really the best I can say about it.
How does that factor into that sort of future? You're going to be a more competitive roster, right? So maybe there's less developmental spots at the back of the 53 roster that you can
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's all part of the conversation. There's a number of those guys in the back end. I can think of two in the back of my head right now that I'm like, man, a year from now, I could really see something special. But right now, it's not there. And those are hard. Those are hard.